Hey friends, welcome back. It is Beth with crochetrx, and today I'm going over some of my snowmen. I mentioned in my last video that we've tried a number of snowman patterns and haven't necessarily been super impressed with them. And most of them have been free patterns or kind of crochet alongs for advent calendar type things towards, November, getting into December for the holiday season. So these are some patterns that I've just done these last few days and have been a little more impressed with. Not all of them are great market makes because the bigger ones do take over 2 hours for me, and I've been told in the past I'm a faster crocheter, so if you are somebody who's a little bit slower, it may take even longer. The big ones took almost 2.5 hours for this guy here. So this is a pattern by Crochet Grove. This was in a combo pack that I purchased. It had an elf, a reindeer, the snowman, and a gingerbread man. So this is the seated version. So you have to make legs, arms, the dots, the coal dots, the nose, the hat, the scarf. So there are, and of course the body and the head, that's one piece. So there's lots of pieces and then lots of sewing. The arms get sewed, the legs, as I point to the opposite one, the legs get sewn on, the arms get sewn on, the nose gets sewn on, the hat I did sew on. They kind of leave that as optional, and then you are making the scarf. So lots of pieces here, and this guy took me just under 2.5 hours to do all of it and get it all assembled. I stuffed the hat. I obviously stuffed everything that was supposed to be stuffed, and this is how he turned out. He is quite large, so from my shoulder to just over the top of my head. And then I did this one in purple, which is what the pattern called for originally, and my kids like purple. So that is where I started. And then there's also the option within the Crochet Grove pattern for the standing one. So you crochet a leg, and then you crochet the second leg and attach them together and work up. This one, the arms do get crocheted in to the body, so that was less sewing there. You still have the dots, the scarf, the hat, the nose. So nose and hat are sewn on as well as the dots. So this still had all the same pieces essentially, but less sewing because the legs and the arms were crocheted into the rounds. So still took quite a bit of time. I did not time this one though to know the difference between the two snowmen. I believe it still took me over 2 hours though. Maybe not quite the 2:20 that the other guy did, as I was also a bit more familiar with the pattern, but that's where that ended up. So then the next snowman I took on here, as I flip to my photos. So this guy then is a free pattern called Chubby Snowman by Dee Dee's Plushies and Becky's Plushies. So this is an Instagram pattern. He has a hat that you crochet on, or you crochet and then put on, and little arms. And then, these are bobble stitches. So for this one, I did do the color change and the bobble stitch, and then I sewed around because the black leaks through the white, and I did not like seeing that. So I will tell you how I modified going forward. So the nose, so cute. It does have, again, lots of pieces. So this guy, let me find the right This guy took me 70 minutes with crocheting the snowman, the nose, the scarf, and the hat. So just a little over an hour, but still for the size of him, he's a little bit more than what I would prefer, I guess. This guy ends up being $20 by the time we've got my time and all the materials, because again, I do weigh all of my materials and add it all in. So better, those guys are 35. I didn't say that. By the time it got my 2.5 hours of time and all of the materials, they end up being $35. And there is very little markup on, I get it to a round number. So depending on, you know, if my calculations end up being at $34.77, I will round it. I will, you know, put a little buffer in there and make it 35. But they have very little wiggle room on there. So that's where that is. This being at $20, this again has very little markup to it, less than 10% to get it to round up to that $20. Obviously I would not round down because I'm not going to short myself for material or labor costs. So that's where that guy is. And again, this is the free pattern Chubby Snowman by Dee Dee's Plushies and Becky's Plushies. It was a joint effort there. So then these little guys, little cuties here. So this is another free pattern. This is by Cute Stuff Crochet. Again, an Instagram pattern and just little things. So these little guys, let me find my sheet. So these guys end up being about $10, but these have a bit more of a buffer on them, just because of where they ended up. And of course, when you've got a smaller thing, a bigger percentage gets you a little bit of change. Whereas when it's a $35 item, a dollar is a less of a percentage on that. So just because of the ratios there. So these little guys took me 30 minutes to do. And I'm just not certain about the $10 that they will even sell at that point. But I can't really mark them down much more without going to goofy change. But since they were 30 minutes, I whipped them up real quick. The scarf is just a chain. I did do the one with the embroidered eyes. So again, those little ones were the Cute Stuff Crochet free pattern. So after doing all of those, I then combined to make another one. So these guys here are the pattern from the Chubby Snowman by Dee Dee's Plushies and Becky's Plushies in Bernat. The others were done. So the first guy was done with the original Posh. Then the second guy was done, the rest of these 5, as my snowman rolls away, were done with the Posh Purl from Michaels. This was the first time using it. I put up an Instagram post about how I was not very impressed to begin with because there were so many ends. So I got what I thought was a center pull. I ended up with 3 loose ends out of the center. The one I was working on turned out not to be a center pull, and then was an outside end as I got into it. And then, you know, Posh has had some, the original Posh has had some quality issues here and there. And this definitely did as well, to where the thicknesses varied. So as I got into it, there were places where it was much thinner and not consistent. So it was good enough, but I don't feel that there has been any improvement, at least with this batch of the Posh Purl. So then as I went to these guys, I switched to Bernat baby blanket. This is a newer blanket yarn, or a newer run of it, and it is super, super soft. And so I then took the pattern from the free Chubby Snowman, and he's a little lopsided as he sits on my thing. I took the free pattern, did it in the extra large blanket yarn then, and he came out to be a much more substantial size. I'll take off his hat. So this is the difference between the Posh Purl from the Michaels and the baby blanket. So definitely a much bigger size there. And then I took the hat from the paid pattern from Crochet Grove. Sorry, the name was escaping me there. So the hat from the paid pattern, the nose from the paid pattern, and because of the size, I wanted to make sure I got the bigger nose. And then these, I just did a bobble stitch in the magic ring, and I essentially sewed it on because I did not want the color change leaking through. So I still got the bobble stitch look here without the color change. So, and then also I didn't have to worry about where the stitches lined up because I did have somewhat of an issue there, to where I had to frog it and go back because just because of tension and that kind of stuff, they didn't quite line up where the pattern said they should have. So this way I was able to just sew them in, make sure that they're straight, and everything came out nice there. So I then made the arms a little longer, a little different. I modified those from that pattern as well. So I do like how this guy turned out. So this, with the larger yarn, this took me an hour to do with the larger yarn, and this hat, as opposed to the 70 minutes that guy took with that style hat, and then no scarf. So potentially, I don't know if it necessarily took me 10 minutes to do that scarf, but it saved 10 minutes somewhere. So both of these guys, I've got one red hat, one blue hat right now, and I'm much happier with the cost versus size by combining these two patterns. So as I had mentioned, my dad runs a craft business as well. He does wood turning, makes bowls and charcuterie boards and toppers for stoves, things like that. And we've done a number of things, or I've contributed to a number of things. He makes beer bottle openers, and I do the vinyl for the bottle openers with some sassy and off-label sayings there. So for this season, he wondered about putting a couple of my plushies out with his stuff. He, you know, whether it's kind of a decor sort of thing, or, you know, just a little bit more theme-ish for his table. So I had sent him pictures of some of the holiday stuff that I have. I don't have a whole lot of holiday stuff. We've tried a number of things and haven't necessarily been happy with all of the patterns that we have tried. So a lot of things are kind of a one of, but I did send him pictures of my Santa turtle, which is from Happy Turtle Crochet, my Grinch, which I believe is from Crochet Grove as well. And I haven't been making the Grinch for my tables just because of licensing, copywriting, but Dad asked for a couple of those. I'm not even certain if I have enough green to make those. So I will have to see. I have so much Parfait Chunky. Truly, I have a wall of Parfait Chunky that I really don't want to place another order right now for the Parfait Chunky. Maybe if I got another 20% off, since they do frequently run those deals, and I could stock up on red and green. Looks like maybe I've got 2.5 of, I believe it's Cardinal, that I prefer for the red, but I've got tons of white. It looks like I've got tons of black. I've got most of the other colors because I've been doing so much in Posh lately, and so I haven't been making as much stuff in Parfait Chunky. But I don't know, I may try. Maybe that's for the next video, making Santa turtles in both Parfait Chunky and Posh and seeing what the differences are between those. I believe I've got a good green, that bok choy in Posh, and then there's the red, which I had just at my feet here, which is Red Velvet Cake. I don't know how much Red Velvet Cake I have though. This was a newer color that they put out kind of this spring, right before then they closed. So I would have to look to see how much Red Velvet Cake I have, if I would have enough to make Santa turtles. Obviously this is most of a skein here, but the skeins often ended up being broken into pieces. So I'll have to see how much I have, if I can do something like that for both me and Dad. I will have to see what kind of colors I've got here. So I will make one more Santa for Dad, or one more snowman for Dad here, and that should be good for his 3. We will see how much blanket yarn I've got. I've got this, which may not quite be enough for one more snowman. These guys will definitely go out on my tables and my displays, and then these modified ones will go to Dad. If I have more blanket yarn, maybe I would make one modified one for my table as well. I made ghosts out of these, which I showed in the last week's video. It was just a couple of days ago. I've been making snowmen. I made snowmen all day yesterday. I think I started Friday night. So today's Sunday. I made snowmen Friday night, all day yesterday, outside of parenting and whatever, I don't know. Oh, I had a homeschooling for college credit webinar that I participated in the morning. I am a homeschool mom, and I help to moderate a number of the homeschooling for college credit channels, groups, and we had a transcript seminar yesterday. So I have a kid who's, if you've seen my videos, who's 15 and doing some college credit classes already. Definitely a different stage as we progress through here on our homeschooling journey, but I digress. So I had done ghosts with this. I may actually need to buy more of this just because I don't want to be out of the white baby blanket. So I bought some 3-packs, I think, two 2-packs or a 3-pack over the summer for a custom that I had done and because it was cheaper to buy the multiple skeins or meet the shipping requirement or whatever it was. So I'm not sure how much I have left. I'll have to peek at my inventory for that. And then I guess the next step will be making turtles. Since I do not have any turtles in stock for me as well. So I think I'm pretty much done with Thanksgiving, Halloween type makes. I did see one turtle from Happy Turtle, I think it was Happy Turtle Crochet, where as opposed to doing just the jack-o'-lantern on the orange, that they did a spider web as well. So that is kind of tempting. Let me grab the jack-o'-lantern. So I had shown in a previous video the mods that I did to the Happy Turtle crochet pattern, and these were inspired by her. I assume it's a her, for the patterns. She had posted on her Instagram a couple of different Halloween mods, and so this, my daughter then, I can't find my words today. I need more coffee or something. Needle felted the face on there. So it is good and stuck in there, and those aren't going anywhere. So the eyes on this were needle felted, and I then embroidered the face on there. So I saw, I believe it was another one of her Instagram posts, where instead of, there was a spider web on here, which I thought was super cute, and that would be fun to do as well. I would probably just embroider that on. I think it would be a bit too tedious to do all those lines and circles for the needle felting. I don't think we're quite up to that level at this point. So if I made something else for Halloween, it would probably be that. But this is made with the carrot posh, which is perfect for carrot juice, which is perfect for carrot noses. So I don't know that I want to dedicate, and this I think I only got one of because I wasn't sure of the color when I bought it. So I'm not sure I want to dedicate another turtle to it, because that would be running low, and then I'd be forced to use something like tangerine from Parfait Chunky for my oranges. And I'm just not a fan. It's not orange orange enough for pumpkin-y stuff. We will see. And I certainly don't want to make it out of worsted weight yarn. So I will work on whether I do some more today, because I need to get that snowman out, but next up will be the Santa turtles, because I need some for my inventory as well, plus whatever I can make and ship off to Dad. And those definitely take a little bit more priority since I've got time in shipping, and I want everything to be to him before he starts his holiday markets. He still has some of his summer farmers market events through the end of this month, I believe, and then we've got some holiday stuff starting soon. He said he's already started selling some Christmas stuff, or he did this past market yesterday, so I definitely want to get those to him as soon as I can, without running my inventory too short. So I think that is it for today. I've been catching up on a number of my YouTubers with work this summer and trying to get the hours in that I need, because hours have not been coming by as readily, which I've also mentioned previously. I haven't had as much time to crochet because I've spent so much extra time at my work computer. So hopefully things will be a little bit more balanced here soon, hope, and I can get back to more consistent crocheting as well. But I've been catching up on a sorry, I've been catching up on a number of my YouTubers. So if you happen to also watch my channel and you've just received comments on videos that are 5 months old, it is what it is. Life gets in the way, parenting, school, all of that stuff. So hopefully things will be a little bit more consistent here and I won't get quite so far behind. I appreciate everybody who's been hanging out with me. I appreciate all the new subscribers that have come on. I've had 9 months here on YouTube, and so I will be getting closer to my year here in January. I'm excited to see where the fall markets take us. I've got a number of great shows that I have contracted with for this fall. Looking forward to that. Still have my one show that I haven't heard any information on, so I'm not quite sure what's happening there. I would like to fill my Small Business Saturday, because that show is not occurring this year. I haven't really looked for a show yet. I've just been head down crocheting snowmen. So hopefully this week I can find a show for that Small Business Saturday that I can pop into and contribute to and have a good time with. So that is it for now. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. About 75-80% of those that watch my channel are not subscribed, and I would love it if you would help me boost my subscriber count and get my channel out there a little bit more. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time.